The plan is to remodel and keep it long term. We're gonna force a bunch of appreciation from our remodel, but we're also have faith that over the next 15 years, this property will most likely double, if not triple. Welcome back. Today is closing day. So if you guys remember this property from before, we did the initial inspection. Today we're actually kind of enjoy the fact that we own this property now. The little highlights, we're in Old Northeast St. Pete, very desirable area. We're a couple streets over from Coffee Pot, which is an area people will run and bike and canoe. Very high net worth area. House across the streets, 1.6 million, 3,000, probably 200 square feet. Duplex next door is $800,000 for 2 units. We purchased this ALF here, part of the Old Southeast Fund that I manage. And the Old Southeast Fund owns a bunch of properties in St. Pete. This opportunity came available, about $850,000 is what we purchased it for. And we're converting this ALF into 5 2-bedroom, 2-bath units. Also looking to get historic designations so we can remove our property taxes and increase the net operating income. So let me show you around. So one of the things I focus is I really love historic buildings. This definitely has the vibe of old Florida, 1950s to 1970s vibe. They were also built very well. Concrete block, hip roof, so very well built. So it's gonna withstand a hurricane. And I love going in, remodeling it, putting in all the nice new stuff, but still giving it and keeping that historic feel. So I'll show you some of the units of what the ALF looked like inside. As you can see, this property was remodeled a couple of years ago. All new windows, flooring, drywall, everything was done. Bathrooms, they spent a lot of money on this remodel. And we're actually going to be destroying everything and putting in all new stuff. We really are trying to save what we can, but when we looked at it to try to save the bathrooms, the locations, it just didn't make sense. So we're going to have to just remove everything that's in here, gut it down to the studs, and rebuild everything brand new. But overall, this property is in great condition and it's in a great location. Currently, I believe there is 15 studios here, and that function for the ALF. I might rent it out on Airbnb during our transition period while we get permitted for the conversion to 5 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartments. Let's go check out some other units. Come on inside. So this is another one of the studios. As you can see, they all basically have a similar look. The sizes change depending on, what was available when they laid out the property. I think they really were considered more with getting as many units as possible, not the functionality of the units. Personally, I would have done things a little bit differently. None of the units have real kitchenettes. They just have, fridges and microwaves, but no cabinets. So I would have done things differently. And it makes sense why, even though they were in a great location with a great building, they didn't perform, because they were trying to get the most money out of it and thought that by having the most number of bedrooms, it was gonna be profitable. The reality is you wanna give someone a great building, a great location, and a great finished product so they can want to stay here. Like, it'll bring someone in, but it's how well you built the product, how utilitarian you make the unit, because the utility of the unit matters after the lust for the unit is gone, right? You're gonna be excited about it, the location, the property in the beginning, but what's gonna keep you is how functional the property is. So I don't see they did that, and I think that's why they didn't succeed. In addition to ALFs did go through a very rough time, but I think they went through their rough time even prior to COVID. So, you know, I think they had some systemic issues with their business. Let's go check out some other units. So now we're on the outside of the property, and here's some of the ideas I have. Obviously, we're going to change the color because this green is not appealing, and we're going to give it a nice Key West cottagey color. We're going to trim out all of the windows and put a band around the windows, a band around the doors. It's going to really give it a nice, cool, beachy vibe. We're going to be putting palm trees out. Now, there's some here right now, but we're going to be adding more. In the front, we have 10 parking spots, which is great because that's good enough for 5 units. But there's also the back alley where you can park as well. So a lot of potential here. I'm also planning to put some bikes for like a bike rack and some bikes and some canoes and paddle boards. So if someone's coming to stay here, or an Airbnb or whatnot, they can actually borrow them and go out to Coffee Pot and, you know, go canoeing. There is a laundry unit on site, which I do plan to keep, but I'm going to make it free. And all of the 2 bedrooms are going to have their own units. All the 1 bedrooms are going to have their own units, but the studios will not have their own laundry inside. So they'll come and use the laundry over here. I'm planning to change all the pavers as well. Right now, these are fine, but I want to give it a nicer feel for the pavers, a more cohesive feel, and bring the pavers up to this level where now it's all even instead of, you know, constantly painting this. That is what I think we'll be doing. Again, I might decide not to and save the money and then just literally clean this up and keep it moving, because pavers are very expensive. They're roughly $8 to $9 a square foot. So we're looking at, you know, probably 2,000 to 3,000 square feet. So we're looking at roughly like, you know, $25,000 for the pavers. So I'm gonna see if I can justify the cost.
You're gonna make parking spots back here?
What I can do is remove this fence and put some of the parking back here with the back alley. I mean, that's if it's needed. We have that as an option.
But the 10 spots up front
should be sufficient. Now sometimes you do require 1 extra spot for guests. So it is 2 per unit, and then 1 for every 1 guest spot for every 5 units. So they could require an 11th spot. But likely they're going to be fine with it since we are remodeling a historic building. So likely they'll be fine with it and make an exception. Sometimes we'll still provide them that extra parking spot even though they're giving us an exception, because the exception period, the amount of time it takes us to get the inspection, could take months.
Hey Pascal, do all these have separate AC units?
I like your very mechanical, robotic question. No. So they're actually 1 AC unit for the whole building. And what we're gonna do is even though it's newer, we're gonna remove it and we're gonna put a separate AC unit in each apartment.
Okay, Pascal, but each unit looks like they have their own AC unit, because I see like a controller. What is that controller then?
So what you saw was a thermostat. So each unit does have a thermostat, but it doesn't have its own AC unit. So the whole AC system is running for the full building. And that thermostat goes to a damper. And once it sees that it reached the proper temperature, the damper will actually close off, so the air is reduced that's coming into the unit. So once it gets hot enough, it'll then turn on again. That is nice, but you're not truly having a split system, and you're always going to be running air. So hypothetically, say you have your AC running and half of the people closed their ducts, dampered their air. The other half could potentially have double the air flow through them. So it's not the best option, to be honest with you, but that's why I'm going to be changing it when we make them separate apartments. When it's an ALF, it's a little bit different because everyone's kind of under one roof and they understand they have to split things. When it's apartment, it's a different ball game. You have to have everything separate, so one unit does not affect each other. And the same idea as this is that if one unit smells, because it's on the same duct system, it could travel to all the units in the building. Where when you have a split system, where it's fully split, we're gonna have it closed off and with a firewall. So whatever deducts are just for its own unit. The other units will not be affected with smell or any of the other potential problems. So there's a lot of potential here with the property, the location, the rents. I mean, the rents are very strong in this area. They're going to continue to rise with the demand, with the work, with the 2 hospitals and the baseball field and the college. Demand's constantly rising up. So the plan is to remodel and keep it long term. We're going to force a bunch of appreciation from our remodel, but we'll also have faith that over the next 15 years, this property will most likely double, if not triple. So as a long-term hold, and with no money in the deal post our renovation and our refinance, it's going to be a great apartment complex to Burr. It's great seeing you, and I'll see you next time.